Ba 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 boo ba 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 blue ba ba blah blue blah 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 blue blah blah blue blah 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 blue blah blah lee boo blah 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 blue blah blah. Boo boo. Thanks, guys. That was the Fargo, North Dakota Symphony Orchestra. That you guys did a great job. Yeah, you guys can just exit through the gift shop. Thank you. Welcome to something to talk about. I almost said let's talk about A Song of Ice and Fire. I should just make that podcast, but no. Welcome to something to talk about. And this is my giant love letter to A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, House of Dragon. How good is this first season? Oh my God. So I wanted to incorporate two of my loves, shove them together. We got Pokemon and we got A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to shove them all together. So before I do that, I do have shout outs to 3 people who found my password from my every Fallout 4 creatures Pokemon type video. And that was a fellow named Clock. Thanks, dude. You're awesome. Jekka, one of my like goodest friends, and also has helped me writing episodes before. She hates it when I don't bring that up. And also 50 Shades, who has not missed a password and a shout out yet. You're great. I was just on 50's Doctor Who show on Northern Entertainment Group, and I know nothing about Doctor Who, so just stand there like the whole time. But awesome. All 3 of you guys, thanks. And please wait until the end of the video to learn what the password is and incorporate it into your comments to get a shout out. All right. Anyways, and also like and subscribe as you're commenting. Why not? Let's get into it. So a lot of this list is monsters that we do see, monsters from lore books, like The World of Ice and Fire, and just like legends, right? So like when somebody talks about a legendary blank, so some of these creatures and monsters that I have in here are like one specific thing. And yeah, I'm really excited to get through this. There wasn't a lot of diversity, and I thought there would be, but there really isn't. It's something that I've been learning doing these Pokemon typing lists, or when I like look at a like face value, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do every Fallout character or Fallout creature or something. I think, yeah, there's got to be a lot of different types, and then I find out, it's nothing but bug, water, and poison, like or something like that. And yeah, of course, there's a lot of ice here, quite more dragons than normal. But yeah, it wasn't as diverse as I thought. It was more diverse than the Fallout one. But yeah, let's not talk anymore. Let's get into it. And yeah, every Song of Ice and Fire's monsters Pokemon type. Oh my God. If this is your first time and you're like, why is this guy talking and it's all one take and he's not editing out all of his ums? That's what I do here. I like to get the feel of my improv along with me kind of going off the script, which are the cards. I want to kind of get that nice mix, because I feel like I'm pretty funny when I don't know what I'm going to say next. So yeah, if you're wondering why I say a lot, it's because everybody else just edits out their ums. I say the same amount or less. Every A Song of Ice and Fire monsters, Pokemon type, and signature moves. This is a great shot. This is Quicksilver getting destroyed by Valyrian the Black Dread after he rips his wing off, and that little dude falling off of Quicksilver is Aegon the Uncrowned, Aenys' son. And the guy on the back of the Black Dread is Megor the Cruel. That is not House of the Dragon spoilers. That happened way before House of Dragons. All right, start off with the letter B. We do these alphabetical. We have the Basilisk. The Basilisks live in Sothorios and the Basilisk Isles. And man, they're straight up poison, dude. They people have talked about in the lore of being bit by basilisks and how you feel fine, and then all of a sudden you start to fall apart. That's why they got Poison Tail, because there's got weird barbs on their tails, and Poison Fang. I do want to state, I don't own any of this art. I got majority of it off of the Wikipedia of Ice and Fire. All these artists are great. They're the best. Support them. All that good stuff. I don't own any of it. All right. C is, why does it say Basilisk? Oh my god. C is Centaur, because I was doing too much copy and pasting. The Centaurs, I gave them fighting. Triple arrows, because triple arrows is a fighting move, and whenever a character has a bow and arrow, I gotta give them triple arrows, right? Double kick, because of, like horse bottoms, and stomps. Yes, we don't see any centaurs or hear about any of them living now, but they are a creature of legend that made it onto at least one person's sigils. And yeah, so that's why they exist. These guys we also don't see, and I love them. Going off of still C, Cockatrice. Cockatrice? They are chicken dragons. Oh my god, chicken dragons. They have made it onto a sigil. And yeah, these guys are so cool. I really want a Cockatrice in real life. Just an awesome chicken dragon. Small, big, whatever. They're apparently pretty big. They're like 8 feet tall. This is also just like a creature of legends, but flying because of the chicken, and dragon because they're chicken dragons. Twister, I thought was cool. Dragon claw and wing attack. That's what I'm giving the good old Cockatrice. You guys didn't see that coming, did you? Children of the Forest, of course. We have seen Children of the Forest. I love this art. This art's great. I love the how cool the weirwood looks and how it almost looks like a ghost. Grass and Psychic. They got Forest's Curse. Energy Ball, which I know it kind of looks like a fireball they're firing out, but I mean, they're grass, right? They're Children of the Forest, so I kind of thought of it as their energy ball. But yeah, like at the front of Blood Raven's cave, or the Three-Eyed Raven, or Red and Rivers, what do you want to call them, when they're in front of that giant weirwood in the cave and the Children of the Forest come out to save them. I went with Energy Ball for that. And I do believe they call it a ball of energy in the books, or maybe I'm just pretending they do. Also, Mystical Power for obvious reasons, and Future Sight, because the Children of the Forest were the first Green Seers. Ooh. Kind of spooky, huh? Deep Ones. Deep Ones are great. So you hear about the Deep Ones sometimes in the books, and also they kind of are all over the place. So not only the Iron Islands, but you also hear about the Deep Ones way off in the Thousand Islands, or Thousand Isles, whatever they call it. But they sacrifice people to fish-headed gods, and a lot of people think that those are also the Deep Ones. So I went with Deep Ones. So Water and Dark got died because they lived down at the bottom of the ocean, and then Snarl and Wicked Blow because look at them. Some Lovecraft straight up, like the Deep Ones are just like right out of Shadow over Innsmouth, like they are just straight up Lovecraft creatures. I love that George is obsessed with Lovecraft as much as I am, at least his world. Direwolves, ice, because, well, come on, man. And dark, I mostly will give any wolf or hound or anything that hunts like a cat a lot. I will give them dark, just because in the Pokemon world, they traditionally, wolves are dark type. Yes, there are exceptions, but I gave them Ice Fang and Bite, Lockjaw, and Howl. Who is your favorite direwolf? That's not the password. I'm just asking. If you want to say in the comments who your favorite direwolf is, you should. I think mine's Shaggy Dog, because he's just in the books. Rickens in the books, he's just constantly biting people left and right. He is just a wild dog. But we're in the D's, and what comes after direwolf? We got the dragon. What kind of type? Dragon type. And flying. I did give him a fire move, though. So Dragon Dance, Dragon Breath, Fly, and Fire Blast. I mean, their freaking fire is so nuts that, I can't call it like just flamethrower. Like, it's got to be like straight up Fire Blast, right? Like, dang. And after that, we got the Firewyrm. They do not fly, but they are dragons. And they lived in the caves of Valyria, of the 14 Flames. And I gave them Dragon Energy, Outrage, Overheat, and Dig. That is so terrifying. I really wanted to make them dragon ground, but they're called Firewyrms. I have to give them fire type. And then I was like, should I give them fire ground? I'm like, no, they're dragons. So I kind of wish I would, like, if we ever get a Valyria show, which I actually don't want to do a Valyria show, but if they ever give us a show from Valyria, I want to see somebody, instead of like riding a dragon, they opted out to ride a Firewyrm, because that is terrifying. All right. Now, from the north, from the frozen north, I pretty much live in the frozen north too, so what's up, giants? We got giants. In the books, they're described as being covered in fur, which is really cool. I like the giants a lot. I like 1-1, and I like all that stuff that goes down at the end of the last book, Dance of Dragons, with 1-1. And yeah, I love the giants. Ice, of course, because anything that's like coming from the north of the wall, probably going to try to justify to give ice. Ice hammer, and then armed thrust in seismic toss, because they just throw people. Armed thrust, I was thinking, because they just like, crush you with just an arm. Like, they're not fighters, even though I give them fighting type. Any gigantic muscle-y thing, I usually give fighting type. Griffins, the good old Griff, what's his name? John Connington. Good old House Connington. We have, again, this is just like the Cockatrice and the Centaurs. We've never seen a Griffin. We have heard about the Griffin King, which was killed by the first king of the Vale, which is super weird. But, I mean, maybe they killed a Griffin King, but it's probably just a guy named Griffin who is a king. But whatever. Griffins, again, we haven't seen them, but they are on sigils. Give them flying type, wing attack, roost, because the freaking Connington's place is called Griffin's Roost. So I was like, perfect. I can make this Griffin roost. Awesome. Giant nerd excitement. Noble roar. I thought was really cool too. Now this next one you're going to scoff at, but turns out you can't find art for Grumpkins. You can't. There's no Grumpkins or Snarks. I just gave up on Snarks. And I'll explain once. I can explain now why I don't have Snarks on here. You won't see them in the S's. There's no description of Snarks at all. They're not described. They're just Snarks and Grumpkins. Grumpkins, we get a little bit of a description in the lore, but Snarks, they're just creatures beyond the wall. I didn't know what to call them then. I didn't know what to do with them. They're just, that's it. And there's no description. And when I type in Snarks, I don't get, a monster. So sorry, Snarks didn't make it on the list. Apologize. Grumpkins did, in a really hilarious way. So they're described as being really short, almost like a dwarf. They grant wishes, and they live in the woods, and they do curses. This sounded like a freaking leprechaun to me. So there's your Grumpkin. Gave him fairy type. Yeah, that's straight up Warwick Davis's leprechaun. You love it. Don't say you don't. I give him fairy type, charm, draining kiss. Ugh. Do you like to kiss that ugly thing? And wish, because they grant wishes, and metronome, because that's just terrifying. Metronome's the scariest thing ever. Kanto seasons of Pokemon freaking Togepi right there. She just starts Togi, 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 and then everything explodes. All right, the Harpy. This is, again, not a thing we actually see, but we do see statues all over geese, old geese, where geese used to be, like Slaver's Bay. We see a lot of Harpies all over the place and in Marine. So Harpies in the lore are described as human torsos, wings like bat wings, no arms, which is weird, and scorpion tails. So I went with flying poison, with sky attack, and poison tail, because they have poisonous tails. That's makes a lot of sense. All right, we got the Hellhound. Again, there isn't too much, so I kind of just went all out. People have said I hope the Hellhounds get you, and oh, he murdered a bunch of Hellhounds. They're probably just dogs in the lore, but whatever. I wanted to go full Houndour from Gen 2 and just make a Hellhound. So Dark Fire, I gave him Bite, Pursuit, Fire Fang, and Flame Blitz. And also that art is so cool. All right. Ice Dragon. Ice Dragon. I bet you can't tell the type I give it. This is probably the first and only time that the name's going to be the exact same as the type. Ice Dragon. Their type? Ice and Dragon. These are out in the shivering sea, and their entire bodies are made of ice. So whenever one dies, they just evaporate, which is why no one's ever found their bodies. They shoot out living ice, which is so crazy. God, look how big that thing is, too. Oh man, ice dragons are terrifying. Imagine just being in like the frozen water and you're shivering on the boat and you're like, well, this sucks. Why did we take this route? And then that just shows up out of the clouds because they're so big and you're so small. And you're like, well, now I'm dead. Like, I'm going to jump at it with my sword. If I land in the water, I'm dead too. Yeah, like ice dragons are so scary. Ice and Dragon, I gave them Ice Burn because that's awesome. Blizzard, Dragon Rage, and Dragon Pulse. I hope you guys are feeling cold because we're sticking with ice. We made it to the eyes, so we got to do a couple. Ice Spiders, Ice and Bug, Ice Fang, Mist. Because whenever like the White Walkers are around, there's always like a little bit of like snowstorm going on. So Mist, and then Lunge, like the spiders jumping at you, and Spiderweb. I don't know if these are like tarantula type spiders that don't have spider webs. We've never seen one. We haven't seen one in the book yet. We just know about them in the lore that White Walkers ride them. But whatever. The spiders. I give them Spiderweb. If you don't like it, whatever. We'll just give them 3 moves. We'll just give them lunch. All right. Time to go back to the water with the Kraken. Releasing the Kraken. Just straight water type, man. I didn't know anything else. Like, we haven't heard anything about them. I can't just keep giving everything dark. Just straight water. Whirlpool, dive because they're at the bottom of the ocean, and then bind and constrict because of their giant tentacles. Krakens in the lore are known to tear down entire ships, which, again, like, how do you fight that? And then, of course, Greyjoys, they're on their sigil. Greyjoys love their Krakens. They always name each other after them. You got Dalton Greyjoy, the Red Kraken, who I hope shows up in Fire and Blood later seasons. That'd be awesome. And still staying in the water, we got the Leviathan. They're pretty much the giant whales, I think, in the lore. They're probably just like sperm whales, but you do hear about Leviathans. And it's just straight water. I went with just water with them. I almost contemplated dragons, but you don't hear anything about them having any dragon powers. Just when anything's really giant, I'm like, is it a dragon? But I'm just going straight water, and my main reason is Whalmer and Whalelord, the giant whale Pokemon in Pokemon, are just water type. So yeah, water type. Aquatail, Wave, Crash, and it's Dive, but I wrote Dice. No dice, man. Now, if you've never heard of these, you're welcome. These are the best. These are so adorable. I love them so much. We have the little Valyrian. They're the little lemurs, and they call them the little Valyrians because they have white fur and purple eyes. Are you absolutely kidding me? Look at these. Look at these little Valyrians. They're so cute. I give them a little double slap. And give a rock climb, a little climbing, a normal type. All right, now we got the Lizard Lions. This was so hard to decide what to name them or what to give them because I almost want to give them grass because it looks like they got like freaking sticks coming out, but they also just live in the swamp and they're swamp creatures. I almost gave them water ground because they're swamp creatures, and a lot of swamp creatures in Pokemon are water ground. I went water dark. Sorry if that's boring, but I figured the moveset made a lot of sense with Bite, Lockjaw, and Crunch, and then Muddy Water. But yeah, Lizard Lions live in the neck. They are hunted by chronic men and also hunt chronic men. They are like big alligators that stand up tall. All right, let's go back north because we got the Mammoth. Ice Ground. I went Ice Ground because all Mammoth Pokemon are ice ground, right? It's not the last time you're going to see a mammoth. When I do the Skyrim characters, we're going to see a mammoth, and they're probably going to be ice ground again. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes. When there's a precedent in the Pokemon world, I usually like to go with it. So they don't have a lot of ice and ground moves. I gave them Avalanche. I didn't have a lot to work with. Bulldoze, which made a lot of sense. like they're coming after you. Also Skull Bash, and then Ancient Power, because they are like, they're like this ancient freaking creature. So I gave him Ancient Power. All right, let's get creepy and crawly with the Manticore. I don't like that at all. Manticore is not like the Greek myth. Manticore is a big, like, freaking spiky lions or whatever the crap they are. These are the Manticore that the House of the Undying, after Danny goes in there and messes stuff up. Sorry, I'm yawning. They send an assassin with a Manticore after her, and that's what this is. And that's the first time Barristan the Badass shows up and saves Danny. And they are bug poison. I mean, toxic, poison tail, quiver dance, because they dance around. Yeah, man, Manticores are terrifying. Let's get that off my screen. All right, let's go to the Merlings, or the Merfolk, or the Mermen, or the Merladies, whatever you want to call them, the Merlings. Water type. This is actually the sigil of the Manderleys, with the Merling King is what I believe the Driftwood throne of the Valyrians that you just saw on the show, actually, was a gift from the Merling King. That's weird. They haven't seen him lately, but you hear a lot about mermaids, especially from Patchface. They aqua jet, aqua tail, dive. Again, anything that we speculate actually exists in the water, but we never see. I'm going to give them dive. They live down at the bottom of the ocean in the mermen's halls. Mermens are actually, Merlings, I almost gave them dark, because in Game of Thrones, they're often described being very murderous and terrifying. But, yeah. Nagga! Hanging out in freaking the Iron Islands still. We got Nagga. Nagga was a giant sea dragon that was actually killed by is it the Drown God? Like the first Iron Island king. And yeah, why am I not remembering his name? Whatever his name is. He killed him, and that's where Nagga's bones are on Old Wick, and that's where they have the King's Moot in the books. And in the books, they are under Nagga's bones on Nagga's Hill. So I gave him water, dragon. Look at all these dragon types. Whirlpool, Dragon Tail, Dragon Pulse, Dragon Rage. Nothing too interesting, but interesting. You want to know interesting? This next one. This is so cool. The Old Man of the River, or Old Men of the River, whatever you want to call them. They are gigantic turtles that live on the River Royne, and Tyrion straight up sees one when he's going down the river in the freaking books, and it is so cool. This giant, huge, monstrous turtle comes out of the water and roars. And yeah, I gave him a water type. I almost gave him dragon type. I didn't though, but I gave him a dragon move. I gave him Dragon Pulse, which I think if you look at that thing, he's like a dragon turtle. All right, back off. Water spout, withdraw, because he can get into a shell maybe, and razor shell, because look at that shell. But yeah, so there you go. Old Man of the River. It's like one of the coolest creatures of the entire freaking lore. The Rat Cook. Ugh. The cursed cook that killed this Andal King's like kids and fed it to him. And because he did it while they had guests right, the gods turned him into the Rat Cook that was destined for his whole life to wander around the Night Fort and eat his kin. Ugh, man. I know that we just needed to explain why, like, you shouldn't break guests right before the Red Wedding, but still, the Rat Cook, like, ugh, geez, George. That's some, ugh, gives me the willies. Dark type, clearly. Torment, bite, nasty plot. Ugh. All right. More dragons. We got the sea dragons of like Sea Dragon Point. I think these guys are just like giant serpents, maybe. I don't know. Not that serpents are any more real, but we got the sea dragons. I couldn't not do a sea dragon. Waterfall, Dragon Rage, Twister. I mean, I got a lot of dragons, so I have to like kind of just start reusing moves. But there you go. Sea Dragon. And I almost forgot this one. I didn't have it on the list, and then finally I remembered. But the little baby, Stannis' firstborn son, the Shadow Assassin that was birthed by Melisandre to kill Renly. Shadow baby, Shadow Assassin, whatever you want to call him. Shadow Ball, Shadow Sneak, Shadow Force. Come on, he's a Shadow. And Night Slash, because he kills Renly. Spoilers. Spoilers for the second book. Shadowcats, they live north of the Wall and also in the Mountains of the Vale, and they're actually warged by a dude like north of the Wall in the books. Oh, I keep yawning. I should edit those out. Not. Shadowcats, yeah, I mean they look like just like a mix between like a Black Panther and like a snow leopard. But they are super cool. And dark type, again, any like hunting cats or dogs or wolves, I might give just dark type, but dark type, Night Slash, Bite, and Snarl. Yeah, Snarl. What do we got here? The Sphinxes. This is, again, something that we don't see. Like, we do see Shadowcats and a Shadow Assassin. We don't see Sea Dragons. And we also don't see Sphinxes. They do show up on sigils, and also the Citadel has a bunch of Sphinx statues, and I believe down at Dorne they got some Sphinxes too, but maybe. I believe so. But yeah, so outside the Citadel there are 2 Sphinxes, and also outside the small council chamber there are Sphinxes, and that's really weird. Like, it seems a little exotic to be in the Red Keep, but all right. Flying Psychic. I gave him Mirror Move because I thought that was cool. And Hypnosis, Lunar Blessing, and Mystical Powers. I just kind of want to come up with like cool mystical stuff with them. All right, now this is something talked about in the books, but you never see them. I could have just combined them with the deep ones, but I didn't want to. Because I didn't want to just say deep ones. I wanted to say Squishers. The Squisher. Squishers are freaking... Ugh. They come up in Legend in a Brienne chapter, where it's somebody who she's traveling with tells her the story of the Squishers, and they're like, oh my god, they're fish people that come out of the water and steal children, and they kill males and they bring down women to breed with them. Ugh, jeez, Squishers, you Lovecraft enough? You love the Lovecraft? You love the craft? Love the craft of Lovecrafting? Gave him Fishious Rend. Fishious. Not vicious. Fishious Rend. And Ceaseless Edge and Brutal Swing. Because, look at him. That's brutal. All right. Unicorn. I gave him Psychic. And I don't agree. I just thought it would be fun to give these guys Psychic. So... I struggle with this a lot. Unicorns in the lore are just possibly on Skagos. Let's hope we go there in the next book. All right, Davos is going to go get Rickon in Skagos. That's for book readers. Show watchers aren't going to know what I just said. But they live on Skagos, and they're described as almost goat-like, but with the giant horn. And people ride them there. Why Psychic? Well, because the only unicorns besides Rapidash and Ponyta that we see are the other forms of Rapidash and Ponyta. And they're Psychic type. So I kind of just went with that. I wanted to make them kind of like that, like, mystical unicorn that grant wishes. So I gave them Healing Wish, and then Agility because they climb a lot, like climb up rocks, and Rock Climb because they climb up rocks. So... if you guys are going to have any issues with any of mine, I think this is the one. I mean, I almost don't agree with it, but I thought it was cool. Give them Psychic like Rapidash and Ponyta. The Walking Lizards of Sithorios. They're like dinosaurs, man. They're also called the Tattooed Lizards or Walking Lizards. I gave them Dark type because freaking all the reasons I said earlier for Dark. Crunch, Faint Attack, Night Slash, Pursuit. Jeez, man, they got dinosaurs in Southeros. No reason, or no wonder why no one goes down there. Also, what they have down there is the vampire bat, the white vampire bats that can drain your blood in one bite. Ugh. White vampire bats, I give them flying, dark again, wing attack, bite, leech life. Oh yeah, we're getting close to done, guys. We're in the W's. We got the White Walkers, everyone's favorite villains, everyone's favorite ice Darth Mauls. We got the White Walkers. We got sheer cold, blizzard, icy wind, and cosmic power. I gave them ice psychic. Awesome. That's a legendary creature if I've ever seen one. And their zombies, the whites, ghost, ice, shadow claw, shadow force, haze, and icy wind. Because again, when White Walkers and whites are around, there's usually a little bit of a storm picks up. But yeah. Then wyverns or wyverns, whatever you want to call them, they are fireless dragons again from Sithorios that they travel in packs of like 30. Holy crap. So they're smaller than dragons and they don't have fire, but they are said to be meaner and more wild. And so I gave them a dragon flying, dragon claw, dragon rush, sky drop, and sky attack. Because holy wyverns. You imagine if you're just hanging out in Sithros and 30 of these things show up in the sky. Holy crap. And the Yig or Yig, whatever you want to call it, the egg. This is a cursed tree that was killed by like an ancient Iron Island guy. I want to say it was a drowned god again, but it was used to make the boat. He killed this haunted demonic tree, and the text is actually a demonic tree. It does just kind of sound like a weirwood, which I didn't add in here because weirwoods are so, I don't know what a weirwood, you know, we're not 100% sure what's going on with them. So I didn't do it. But I did add these guys in. So grass dark, because demons, I think of dark. So Giga Drain, again, like this tree, like leeching away your life as you're like being sacrificed to it. So like Giga Drain, Ingrain, and then the Dark Void. There you guys go. Not a lot of letters after Y, and there's no Z for Song of Ice and Fire. Let's kill this. Let's get to the numbers. Like James A. Janice says, get to the numbers. We got 1 normal, 2 fire, 9 water. We hung out in the water a lot. 2 grass, 0 electric, 7 ice, 2 fighting, 3 poison, 1 ground, 6 flying, 4 psychic, 2 bugs, 0 rock. That's I couldn't get rock, electric, or steel. 1 ghost. 1 ghost. I only had 1 ghost. Oh, all right. It must have just been the whites. Yeah, I didn't give the Shadow Assassins ghost. Dark is actually 11 because I added the Shadow Assassins in late and I didn't update this. So dark is actually 11, not 10. And dragon 7. Holy crap, dragon. And then 0 steel and 1 fire for the Grumpkin. And again, now pretend like the dark goes up 1 to 11, but you do see water is in 2nd place and dragons in 3rd place. It's probably going to be one of the only lists. Maybe the Skyrim list, but I don't even think that the dragons are going to be that high up. There you guys go. All the Song of Ice and Fire monsters and legends and lore. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you guys are enjoying House of Dragon. I need to come up with a password. I never do this ahead of time. I never think of the passwords ahead of time. I kind of want leprechaun because I made the Grumpkins leprechauns. So if you somehow find a way to add leprechaun to your chat without just saying it straight up, the password's leprechaun. Don't do that. If you somehow be like, hey, how come you don't have leprechauns on this? You can do that. That works out. I'm sure you can find a way to add leprechaun in. I think that's hilarious. Should we see him one more time? We can if you want. I think it's great. I got the little Warwick Davis Grumpkin. The Warwick Fairy Grumpkin. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Do all that YouTube stuff, like and subscribe. I have a bunch of other Pokemon types already on the channel. Star Wars characters, Fallout monsters, every Mortal Kombat character. It was a huge video. It's like my magnum opus. And I have a lot coming out. I'm working on my Skyrim one. I got some ideas, scary ideas for Halloween. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these Pokemon vids. And as long as you guys keep watching them, I'll keep making them. And that's all. Have a good one.